The sun had barely risen when the quiet hum of the small-town diner was shattered by the heavy boots of a leather-clad biker stomping through the door. He pushed past tables and chairs with an air of arrogance, his eyes scanning the room like he owned it. At one of the booths sat an elderly man, quietly sipping his coffee, minding his own business. The biker muttered something under his breath, his voice rising as he leaned over the table. "Get out of my way, old man." With a shove, he knocked over the man's cup, sending coffee splashing across the table. Then came the slap, sharp, brutal, echoing off the walls like a gunshot. The old man staggered back, clutching the edge of the table to keep from falling. Gasps filled the air. A waitress dropped her tray, porcelain shattering on the tiled floor. No one moved. No one said a word. The veteran slowly turned his head back, a red welt already forming on his cheek. His hands trembled slightly, but his eyes were calm, unwavering. He didn't flinch. He didn't speak. He simply reached for his cap, placed it back on his head with quiet dignity, and sat back down. Walter Briggs had seen war. He'd served in Korea with the 101st Airborne, jumping behind enemy lines, rescuing fallen comrades, and burying more friends than he could count. He'd carried a wounded soldier 2 miles under fire, all while taking a bullet himself. That service cost him moments with his young son, missing birthdays and holidays in the name of duty. Now decades older, he still wore his cap proudly, a symbol of pride and sacrifice. Yet despite everything he'd endured, he never sought recognition. Every Sunday, he met his son at that same booth, enjoying a quiet breakfast together after losing his wife years ago. That morning was no different, until it was. The slap wasn't just an insult, it was a violation of someone who had given so much. But Walter didn't react with anger or fear. He responded with grace, showing restraint that few could muster in such a moment. And unbeknownst to everyone in that diner, help was already on the way. Exactly 30 minutes before the slap, Walter had sent a simple message to his son. Same table. Coffee is ready. It was their ritual. Every Sunday, rain or shine. Commander Briggs knew what time to arrive, knew which booth they'd be sitting in, and always made sure not to be late. What no one else knew, however, was that when you're the son of a decorated war hero and a military commander yourself, you don't travel alone. As the seconds ticked by, the tension in the diner remained thick. The biker laughed, still caught up in his own bravado, unaware that outside engines were revving. Tires screeched. The ground seemed to tremble beneath the weight of something far greater than any argument. Then came the sound of boots. Rhythmic, powerful, undeniable. Windows rattled as 8 military transport vehicles pulled up in unison. In perfect formation, 12 soldiers in full combat gear stepped out and marched toward the diner. Their presence was immediate and overwhelming. People near the windows turned, faces shifting from confusion to awe. The soldiers entered silently, each step precise, each movement disciplined. At the center of them all walked a tall man in full camouflage, Commander Briggs. His jaw was tight, his expression unreadable. The entire diner fell silent. Even the biker, who only moments ago was laughing and making crude remarks about veterans, now looked around nervously. "What the hell is this?" he asked, trying to mask his unease. "You guys lost or something?" Commander Briggs didn't answer. He didn't need to. His eyes locked onto his father's face, then shifted to the biker. Silence stretched. Then, in a low, razor-sharp voice, he asked, "Who put hands on this man?" The biker stood, suddenly unsure of himself. He tried to laugh it off. "Whoa, easy, man. I didn't know he was..." "What? Your dad?" He took a step back, waving a hand dismissively. He was blocking the aisle. Old people are always in the way. He never got to finish. Commander Briggs stepped forward, slow and deliberate, pointing at his father. "That man," he said, voice steady and firm, "jumped from a chopper under enemy fire. He carried his best friend 2 miles with a bullet in his leg. He missed my birth because he was saving lives overseas. And you think you get to slap him because you were in a hurry for pancakes?" The biker backed into a chair, stumbling slightly. "Look, man, I didn't know, okay? It's not like it was personal." Briggs cut him off sharply. "It is now." He snapped his fingers and a soldier stepped forward. Not to harm the biker, but to place a fresh cup of coffee in front of Walter. "Dad," Briggs said gently, "I brought the team." Walter looked up, the faintest smile on his lips. "You always do." Then in a move that surprised everyone, Walter stood. Not to retaliate, not to demand apologies. Instead, he walked straight to the biker and looked him dead in the eye. "I fought for your right to act like a fool," he said calmly, "but I also earned the right to call you one." The biker's cheeks flushed red. He couldn't meet Walter's gaze. "But you've still got a chance," Walter continued. "Every day you wake up is a second chance. Don't waste it." There was no shouting, no threats, just truth, spoken with conviction. Real strength doesn't come from violence. It comes from wisdom, from restraint, from knowing when to stand tall and when to let go. The biker sat back down, shaken. His friends had already slipped out the side door, leaving him alone in the spotlight. Walter returned to his booth, where his son sat across from him. The soldiers formed a silent wall of respect around them, not saying a word, just being present, honoring a man who had done the same for countless others. The waitress wiped away tears as she approached Walter. She placed a gentle hand on his shoulder and whispered, "Thank you." One by one, the other diners rose to their feet. Applause broke out, not just for a soldier, but for a father, a man of dignity, a quiet hero who didn't need to shout to be heard. The moment lingered, filling the room with something deeper than justice, something like hope. Before we end this story, tell us, where are you watching from today? If this story touched you, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. And if you believe in karma, drop a comment below. Thank you for watching.